What is the worst thing someone ever told you when you were a refugee? So when I got that question, that prompted me to search within my memory box because I was a refugee for 17 years of my life. So as you can imagine, in 17 years, a lot of things can happen. The one thing that really stood out to me was this experience that I had in high school. In my classes in high school, our teacher asked us to speak for 5 minutes about something that we really cared about. And at this moment when I was thinking, oh, what could I speak about? I thought to myself, wow, this could be my time. This is an opportunity for me to tell my class about my experience as a refugee and hopefully help them understand why we're here and so that they can be more empathetic towards foreigners and refugees living in the country. And so I was really excited. I wrote a whole speech out. I practiced for days, and I was super excited because I thought to myself, finally, people are going to understand me and understand my experiences. On the day of the presentation, I told my story. I started off by telling a personal account of why I was in South Africa and what my family went through. And then I went to explaining different statistics about refugees in South Africa and refugees all over the world. And I explained that refugees are people who involuntarily have to move from their home country because of natural disasters, political pressures, or war. And oftentimes it's a matter of life or death. And I explained that often refugees leave with absolutely nothing. Everything's burnt or something like that, and they come in this host country to start a new life, and they strive for a better life. And so we work hard, we take any job because we know what it means to have nothing. And so a lot of refugee parents want to do anything and everything in order to help their kids have a better future. And so as I was explaining this, I was emotional. I looked around the room, a few children in the class had tears in their eyes, and I was really excited because I was like, wow, I'm really getting through to my classmates and they're really understanding me. But as I finished my speech and as I was about to go to my seat, one boy came from the back of the room and he yelled, "Shut up and go back to where you came from." And at that moment, I just broke down. I broke down completely because at that moment, a thought came into my mind, like, will I ever be free? A thought came into my mind, humanity has really failed me. Humanity has really failed me. And I broke down, I started crying, and I didn't know what to do with myself. And although I've heard that phrase all my life, people have been telling me, go back to where you came from, you don't belong here, what are you doing here, stop stealing our jobs, our resources, go back to your country, you're causing unemployment. I've heard everything, I've heard it all. But at that moment, that was just such a pivotal moment in my life. I just felt like, wow, people will never understand me. So honestly, that was the worst thing someone ever said to me. That honestly, I questioned my identity, I questioned who I was, because as you can imagine, I had an identity crisis because I grew up as a South African. However, in my home, I grew up, my parents raised me as a Congolese, and so was I Congolese, but South African, who was I? I couldn't be both, and I felt that I couldn't be either one of them. And that statement really just broke me at that time. I want to speak to people who maybe have said it, or people who maybe have heard that said to them. Know that if people had a choice, they would never leave their homes. If we lived in this euphoric world where every place was wonderful, people would honestly want to stay where they're comfortable, where they're familiar. However, people move because something is pulling them to a different place and something is pushing them as well. And so before you say that, please try to understand where these people are coming from, and what you might say might actually do to that, because it might be a trigger. It might, really break someone down. Other people who, maybe you're an immigrant, maybe you're a refugee, and you've heard that being said to you, I understand. And the only way I could console with that is knowing that one day I'll be understood. One day I'll surround myself with people who understand me, and maybe not everyone will understand me, but the people I surround myself with, I know that they love me and they care for me, and that's all that's important, because not everyone in this world will be for you, unfortunately. So yeah, that's answering that question. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please do comment below, like this video, subscribe, and yeah, let's keep this conversation going. Thanks for watching.